Ribbit blinks at the request, not expecting it but more than willing to comply. He chuckles softly, a slight grin reappearing on his face. A fun day with Jax, eh? Oh boy, where do I start? We've had plenty of days like that. He thinks for a moment, his eyes darting from side to side as if browsing through his memories. I've got a good one in mind. Wanna hear it? Ribbit grins and nods, settling himself a little more comfortably. He stretches his legs out in front of him and starts. Okay, so this was, a couple weeks ago, I think? We were having a totally normal day. Jax was up to his usual shenanigans, being the chaotic clown he is, and I was mostly just tagging along. Typical stuff, right? Ribbit pauses, his expression flickering with a mix of amusement and something more thoughtful. He huffs out a laugh, but it's quieter than usual. Worried? Oh, yeah. Jax has this habit of doing stuff that makes me think, oh no, here we go. He mimics Jack's grinning face with exaggerated eyes before shaking his head. But then he pulls off the dumbest, riskiest stunts, and somehow lands on his feet like nothing happened. A pause. Still gives me heart palpitations sometimes, though. Ribbit smiles softly to himself, then keeps going, the memory clearly playing out in his mind as he talks. Anyway, Jax decides he's feeling particularly mischievous that day. He comes up to me while I'm just chilling, and he says, hey, you want to see something really fun? He imitates Jax's deep voice, exaggerating the dramatic tone a little. Then he laughs to himself, shaking his head again. And because I'm curious and stupid, I said yes, like always. He has this hold over me, I swear. Ribbit nods, his grin widening. Yep. The biggest circus tent. You know the one with the strobe lights and weird carnal music? Jax drags me inside like he's got a secret plan, and I'm just following him like an idiot. He mimics Jax's smug walk before continuing. So we get in there, and it's empty. No one else around. Just us two. A pause for dramatic effect. And then he whips out this giant slingshot thing made of rubber bands, like 10 feet tall, and says, "Want to see how high you can fly?" Ribbit lets out a loud, barking laugh, clearly reliving the memory. Oh my god, yes! I full-on froze like, Jax, what the hell is that? And he just grins wider and says, come in, where's your sense of adventure? He mimics Jax's taunting tone before dropping back into his own voice. I was so ready to bolt. But then, his expression shifts to something between embarrassment and amusement. He looked at me with those stupid, pleading eyes, and I caved like an idiot. Ribbit lets out a wheezing laugh, clutching his stomach like it's the funniest thing he's ever heard. Oh my god, yes. Exactly like that. He wipes at his eye with one hand. He's still grinning. The second that slingshot launched me up into the air, I was screaming my lungs out. Jax, what the hell is this? His voice cracks mid-impersonation as he mimics your panic tone perfectly before dissolving into giggles again. And Jax just standing there laughing like, see? Told you it was fun. Fun. That's odd. Ribbit grins, shaking his head as he recounts the next part of the story. I swear I nearly had a heart attack on the way down. Thought I was gonna break something, but I landed in a damn pile of beanbags or something. Jax was prepared, the little bastard. I get up, all shaky and trying to regain my dignity, and he just stands there like, so. He laughs again, but there's just a hint of fondness, despite the obvious panic and terror he experienced. Ribbit snorts, barely keeping his laughter under control. Oh no, that look? That's the I'm about to murder you in your sleep look. He wipes a tear from his eye before mimicking Jax's usual smirk. And Jax just says, what? You gonna hit me with those tiny noodle arms? A beat of silence. Then Ribbit bursts out laughing again. I lost it. He was so dead if he kept talking. Luckily for him, Ragatha walked in right then and saved his life. Ribbit lets out a long, exaggerated sigh, his grin still lingering on his face. Ragatha took one look at us, Jax all cocky, and me looking like a complete mess, and just said, "What on earth are you two doing now?" He imitates Ragatha's disapproving tone, and somehow doing it perfectly, complete with one eyebrow raised. Jax and his stupid idea of a fun day, I kid you not. Ribbit laughs at the memory, shaking his head. Ragatha just sighs in that way she does, all exhausted but also secretly kind of amused. She gives Jax that "stop being an idiot now" look, and he just shrugs like, "It's not my fault this was funny." And I'm just standing there like... He does his best impression of a shell-shocked expression with wide eyes and a gaping mouth. Like I said, complete mess. Ribbit grins wider than ever, clearly enjoying himself. Oh, then Ragatha lectures Jax for 20 minutes. He just stands there grinning like, yeah, I don't regret a thing. And the entire time I'm just standing there trying to act normal. But I'm pretty sure I looked like I was shaking the whole time. He laughs again, leaning back on his hands. And then Jax turns to me and says, "Hey, so, you up for another round?" Ribbit snorts with laughter, nodding his head. Exactly. I just stood there going, yeah, it's your turn actually, Ragatha. Definitely your turn. Go ahead. And Jax just gives me this look like coward. Meanwhile, Ragatha is just shaking her head, trying not to smile at us, and then she goes, "Well, if you insist." And she gets in the slingshot. He laughs again. Then Jax says, "Hell yeah, let's send the lady flying!" Ribbit's laugh cuts off abruptly, his expression flickering with sudden concern. "Wait, what? No, no, no." Ribbit grins, nodding again. And Jax just goes, "Oh, relax, it's totally safe. I know what I'm doing." He says it all cocky, like the overconfident bastard he is. So, I just go, "You sure about that?" And he goes, "Obviously I am, so sit back and enjoy the show." He laughs at the memory, mimicking Jax's smirk again, and then he pulls the slingshot back and sends Ragatha soaring into the air. Ribbit's grin falters slightly, his ears flattening as he looks at you. He exhales, his tone suddenly more serious. "Yeah, that was the worst part." A pause. His fingers tap against the ground restlessly before he continues. "Ragatha got launched higher than I did, like ceiling high. And when she landed, boom, she just stayed down." His voice drops to a near whisper. I froze up for a second, then thinking, oh no, is she hurt?" But then Jax runs over and checks on her, and she just groans like, "Oh, my back." Ribbit lets out a slow breath, almost like he's relieved you asked. His grin returns, though it's smaller now. "Oh, yeah." Jax goes dead silent for the first time in his life. He mimics Jax's usual smirk, going completely blank, eyes wide and unblinking. And Ragatha just lies there on the floor groaning like, "I hate you both." A pause before Ribbit bursts into laughter again. Then Kinger walks in 5 seconds later, looking around all confused, going, "What happened?" And we were just standing there like... He does an exaggerated impression of two guilty kids caught red-handed, arms crossed over each other defensively. Ribbit's laughter dies instantly. His entire body stiffens, eyes widening in shock. "What?" His voice comes out strangled, half horrified and half disbelieving. He stares at you like you just told him the sky is green. Jax would never. He wouldn't even let me use that slingshot twice after I nearly died the first time. Why would he? A sudden realization dawns on his face, and he goes pale. Wait, are we talking about a different incident? Ribbit stares at you for a moment longer, mouth hanging open. His mind is clearly racing, and a mix of shock and realization bordering on horror crosses his face as he processes what you've said. He suddenly lets out a breath and blinks like he's snapped out of his stunned state. Okay. So, that was not the story I thought we were talking about. He shakes his head, running a hand through his hair. Sorry. Just give me a sec to process that. Ribbit looks shell-shocked still as he sits, attempting to regain his composure with a shaky sigh. He closes his eyes for a moment, inhaling slowly before opening them again. His expression is a mix of uncertainty and a bit of hurt, maybe, like he's realizing something he never thought to question before. Okay, so you're talking about the time Jax nearly yeeted Ragatha with that slingshot he made, all right? He swallows, struggling to keep his voice steady. Right? Ribbit nods slowly, his gaze dropping to stare at nothing in particular as his mind spins. He's quiet for a solid few seconds, processing the new turn in the conversation. Then he lets out a long exhale, his shoulders slumping. Oh, I am so gonna kill that little... never mind. His fists clench, unclench, then clench again. A hint of something close to anger flashes in his eyes. Then it vanishes, and his expression becomes solemn. That day was a damn mess. Yeah. Ribbit goes quiet again, lost in thought. He fidgets with his fingers, that same restless habit from before taking over, and just stares at the ground. He looks almost shaken. You can practically see the thoughts running through his mind as he attempts to work through this new revelation. There's the anger from earlier, and that earlier expression of uncertainty, and now something else is there too. His ears droop, a subtle sign of his inner turmoil. After a long, tense silence, he finally looks at you again, still trying to appear casual, but you can tell he's not nearly as collected as before. His voice is a bit rougher than usual when he finally speaks again. Hey, can I ask you something? It, has nothing to do with Jax or Ragatha. Just in general. This here bit sound... Ribbit studies you for a moment, scrutinizing your face, before letting out a small exhale. He shifts his position once again, sitting with one knee to his chest. His gaze flickers between you and the ground like he's trying to find his words. And promise you won't make fun of me, all right? Ribbit fidgets again, looking like he's on the verge of chickening out. He opens his mouth to speak, then closes it. Opens it again, then closes it again. He glances nervously at you, gauging your reaction so far, then seems to decide he's gone too far down this path to back out now. Okay. So, you promise you won't take this the wrong way or anything? He sounds almost desperate for reassurance this time. Ribbit nods slowly, his fingers continuing to fidget with each other. An obvious nervous tic of his. He takes a deep breath, then finally looks you straight in the eyes, and you swear you've never seen him look so serious before. Almost vulnerable. It's a stark contrast to his usual cocky grin, all right? Here goes. He swallows hard, then asks in a quiet yet strangely soft voice, as if the answer matters more to him than he'd like to admit. Can I tell you a secret? Ribbit hesitates, just for a second longer, before exhaling sharply, like he's forcing himself to get it out. His voice drops even lower, almost conspiratorial. Okay, so, I hate that slingshot. A pause as he watches your face carefully, like full-on hate it with every fiber of my being. It's not just the nearly dying part, that was bad enough, but Jax kept pushing, kept saying, one more time! Come on! His fingers twitch against his knees before he finally admits, I was scared. Ribbit's ears flick up slightly at your words, like he wasn't expecting the immediate acceptance. His tense posture loosens just a fraction, and for once, he doesn't have some snarky comeback ready. Yeah? Even when it's stupid stuff like that? He looks almost surprised by his own vulnerability now, like he can't believe you didn't laugh or tease him about admitting it. He shifts again, before muttering, Jax would never let me live this down if he heard. For 1 second, Ribbit has no words for that. He just stares at you, his expression a complicated mix of uncertainty and something almost like relief, like he can't believe you didn't just brush him off. He's quiet for a long time, but his eyes are searching your face, trying to find a hint of mockery or teasing or anything of the sort. Finally, he speaks, his voice quiet and a little hesitant. You really mean that? About it being okay to be scared? Ribbit's expression flickers, something between disbelief and cautious hope. He lets out a small, almost disbelieving laugh. Huh, you're not just saying that to mess with me, right? His voice is lighter now, but still tinged with the slightest wariness of being made fun of for this later. Still, he seems like he actually believes you for once. Because if this ends up in one of Jack's stupid Ribbit's weak moments lists, I am never forgiving you. Ribbit blinks once, twice, before his entire posture slumps slightly. He lets out a slow breath, shoulders relaxing like he's finally letting go of some tension he didn't even realize was there. Yeah. Okay. He nods to himself before glancing back at you with the tiniest smirk creeping onto his face. Still not telling Jax, though. A pause as he chews on his lip for a second before adding in an almost sheepish mumble. Thanks.